What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to a new week where the Bitcoin price chart still sits here stuck at a little bit over $19,000, working on day number 41 that we've been stuck between $18,000 and $20,500. So a $2,500 range. We've been here for almost 41 days at this point. Of course, everybody's stressed out. Which way is it going to break to? We're all still just waiting on that answer to come for Bitcoin, as the market cap of Bitcoin still just sits right here at that 786 retracement of our entire run ever since the C19 sell-off to our height set back there in November of last year. Sitting right on top of retracement levels, still just meandering sideways. We've talked a lot about this ending capitulation that, hey, you know, if this is the case in here, we're in accumulation phases, this would go on for some time. Well, you know, hate it or love it, that's what it's been doing up until this point. We still don't have an answer on it yet, but so far it has been mimicking what a bottom has looked like for Bitcoin in the past, and that was long and drawn out and boring for some time. So we'll just keep waiting over here on Bitcoin for it to give us an answer. Same goes for the Bitcoin dominance. It still has yet to give an answer in here. We've got two different charts we can look at. We can look at the one over here on Coin Market Cap, or this is actually Coin Trader Pro, but it's pulling the data from over here on Coin Market Cap up in here to see that the dominance is still just hanging sideways. Over here on TradingView, which is pulling the dominance from their own calculations. I'm not sure exactly how they do calculate it, but this is the TradingView calculation showing us still just sitting right in here with nothing going on with the dominance. Still waiting to see if we're going to get that plunge coming there for the Bitcoin dominance, which historically has been more positive for the rest of the market, the altcoin market. But still, as we start off a new week, we sit where we've been with the dominance, both here on TradingView and over here on Coin Trader Pro. And while we're still ranged in here on Bitcoin, we can see we spent like the last 5 days down in here over the weekend. We did pop out of that 19,000 area to like 19,500, 600, still just ranging in here. Nothing to run home and tell mom about as we still continue ranging. So when it comes to Bitcoin, still just a waiting game on something to happen in there for it to break one way or the other. Looking over here at the total market cap of crypto, so this is going to include all of the altcoins, and it's going to include Bitcoin in the entire market cap, sitting at $890 billion currently right now. Looking back, we've talked about this with Bitcoin as well, but even when we include the whole altcoin market in it, looking to the past on how 2018 came to an end, poking below that 200-week moving average, poking below, getting a little bit below it once again on a pullback, a secondary test. And then by the time these had crossed in here, the 50-week and the 100-week, the bottom had already been in. It was about 5 weeks later that it eventually got a breakout. So looking from this moment here, it was 5 weeks after that occurred that prices did pop out of that range. Of course, we were already starting to creep our way back up in here at this point. We have not seen that happen here in the total market cap of crypto at this point. But I get a lot of people saying, you know, hey, blockchain backer, where's alt season? Hey, what's going on? I'll show you all the data in here. These are the things that I'm looking at. You can make your own determination on what you think about it. You see these things happening here. You see how 2018 ended. You see how far it came down to. You see the things that were happening in the market. You see the similarities occurring to points in time right now. You see the Bitcoin dominance to show you the structures compared to how these structures have played out before. These are the things I'm looking at. Which way will they break? We'll all find out together, but I never sit here and pull things out of thin air. But you could see the exact same things that I'm looking at and make your own determination on whether or not those things matter. But we could see where we're at for the total market cap as well, not just Bitcoin in here, as we are now at similar timing and moving averages as we have been historically. You do have many looking for another plunge to occur in there. Doesn't mean it can't happen, especially when we see that we've spent so many weeks now here underneath this 200-week moving average. But should you start going further down in here and continuing to break lower and lower, you start changing the dynamic of what has happened in the cryptocurrency market for the longest time, almost as if we are making a broader trend change on something that would be going on much longer than what people would be anticipating. You know, lots of talks out there like, hey, we're going to finish and wrap this up in November. We're going to wrap this up in December because that's what happened in 2014 and it's what happened in 2018. But if you start breaking down much lower, you get so many things that become different than 2014 and 2018. You're really just counting on the magic of time being the factor that matters. So long as Bitcoin just kind of stays here and holds this level and just continues waddling along, I can sit there and remain optimistic that there's even a chance that Bitcoin could get bullish again. This is how endings have happened. They can get boring and stagnant where people lose interest, but it's precisely how bottoms have happened before. So I could be optimistic for that at this point. should we go take out all of those levels, then we have to start kind of talking about, is there something bigger at play? Is there a bigger problem for crypto long term? But as long as we're here, I'm super optimistic. Now, I say potential for Bitcoin to be bullish again, because right now my base case is that Bitcoin goes into a retrace. Obviously, I've been saying that for about a year. Sick of hearing it, I know. But one thing that was optimistic about the stock market last week, or the Dow Jones Industrial Average, is that for the first time, it actually did close back above that 200-week moving average after teasing above it multiple weeks prior. And then on Friday, whoop, going right back down below it. It did get a clean break above that 200-week moving average last week, and even finished Friday, the Dow Jones being up 748 points. As I'm recording at this exact minute, the Dow Jones Futures has us up 250 points. That can totally change throughout the day. It's Monday morning. Things could get chaotic. We'll see what the week has in store for us. But like we've talked about in the past multiple times here, is that, on the structure of what you have happening here in the Dow Jones, and here we'll flip back to this one right here, is that, in this structure right in here, this is kind of that level that we've seen where a bounce can come in here before a retracement can come in. And these can last a long time, especially if we're having an ABC correction come in here in the Dow Jones, ABC. That can take a long time. That can take years to play out, so long as we haven't just started a complete crash and crumble of a Great Depression. But I phrased a question over there on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, and I said, hey, in the next 5 years, do you think that the stock market is going to set new all-time highs? Where 2/3 of people said, no, it won't happen in the next 5 years. And then I asked, in the next 5 years, will Bitcoin set a new all-time high? And 2/3 said, yes, it will set a new all-time high. And then I went on to present all the data to show how every time Bitcoin set a new all-time high, it was within 2 to 8 weeks of the Dow Jones breaking out of a big range. And that it's kind of one of those factors that each bull run, each new all-time high for Bitcoin was set on the breaking of some type of multi-year range, or a breaking from the great financial crisis levels. That this is your 2013 bull run, new all-time high once it cracked through the great financial crisis. This is your 2017 bull run in here after breaking away from a 3-year range, which, as we know, right, 2014, 15, and 16 was a bear market for Bitcoin. Dow Jones breaks out, Bitcoin breaks out into all-time high. Then we go into a broadening wedge range over here in the stock market from 2018 all the way till 2020, C19. Break from the top, set right there from pre-C19, boom, Bitcoin breaks out into all-time high. All these things happening within 2 to 8 weeks of each other. I know a lot of people depend on the Bitcoin 4-year block reward halvening cycles, but what we see from a time perspective, depending on time, right, it's always within like 2 to 8 weeks of some major breakout happening here in the Dow Jones for Bitcoin to set a new all-time high. So that's one of the factors that just historically, and it's not FUD, it's not me sitting here saying I'm making some type of prediction. I'm going based on data. And data has said historically for Bitcoin to set a new all-time high, it always happens within 2 to 8 weeks of the Dow Jones setting a new all-time high. So if the Dow Jones is not going to set a new all-time high, as 2/3 of people do believe in the next 5 years, you have to start questioning, well, will Bitcoin? And I don't know why that statement gets so frowned upon. That is data driven. And I saw something posted by Lynn Alden saying, hey, for some reason, when you post data, you displease people the most. People kind of want a narrative kind of spun the way they want to hear it. But when you're data driven and you're just showing data, it's non-narrative driven. It's just showing the data. And so it's not something that you could be mad at me about or mad at the markets about. It's just the data. So, I think it's important to understand that when these things happen, this is Bitcoin breaking out into a new all-time high. See right here, when is this happening in here? This is November and early December of 2020. When does Bitcoin break out into its all-time high? We can look over here to see November, early December 2020. But it's nice to see a bounce come out of there at the level we were hoping to see a bounce come out of here for the market. However, still the structure would say, hey, some type of retracement coming in here. But I do want to touch topics on something else too, right? Because we don't know all the answers. Let's pretend that, hey, this is it. We're going back into some kind of retracement, and then we're just going to keep on moving down and down and down. The big mystery is, where will all the money go? Historically speaking, and when I did my write-up in the newsletter last week, we dove into gold versus the stock market to try to kind of analyze the differences between store of value with Bitcoin and with gold. And there was some key takeaways to notice in the markets of what happens with Bitcoin and what happens with gold, but how gold is acting different right now. when you see all these time periods of where the stock market pauses out and ranges or it falls, there was always this rotation into gold. It was like, if the stock market is bullish, then gold is bearish. If the stock market is bearish, then gold is bullish. But once the stock market becomes bullish again, then gold goes bearish. It's like an amazing inverse relationship that happens between gold and happens between the stock market. But Bitcoin itself acts very much in line with the stock market. There's not an inverse relationship, there's a correlated relationship. But should that be the case of where, the markets roll over, where will all of it go? Because what is not happening here in this moment right now is the money is not flocking into gold. You go back into any of these time periods and here, even all the ranging that took place for 10 years in here from 2000 to 2008, it was great for gold. This was great for gold. This was great for gold. Suddenly, this is not good for gold. So we're in a very complicated time right now. And it's very interesting to have this new asset class. And the question is, will it be more than just Bitcoin? But rather than going all the way down that rabbit hole, which I was about to do, we'll just stick to the charts for the day to start the morning off. But either way, it looks like we're starting to see some signs of life come back into the stock market as we now have 3 rising lows happening here on the relative strength with 3 lower lows happening here. So you call this a bullish divergence happening here on the weekly time frame for the stock market. And now that the market has opened, the Dow is up 380 points to start Monday off. But yet, Bitcoin still remains within its range unaffected, continuing the idea that it still is just in accumulation in here, but hopefully can wrap itself up by the end of the month. So that's how the week is starting off. We're seeing a bounce for the Dow Jones Industrial Average at the level that we had hoped to see a bounce come in from. Hopefully that sets us up for a longer retracement coming in for the Dow, which can give the opportunity for other markets to start to recover, like the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin still 41 days within a range. For the rest of the week, it's just going to be kind of like, all right, are we going to see Bitcoin ever break out of there at any point? And if we do, then we can start covering it. But really the main focus for me this week is the excitement coming for the XRP community. Because as we should all know, coming on Monday, October 31st, Halloween, the non-fungible tokens V1_1 amendment will be implemented over there on the XRP ledger, bringing native NFTs to XRP. Truly an exciting time for those who are XRP holders, myself included, as it is the largest holding that I do have in the cryptocurrency market. When it comes to the actual XRP price chart, things I'm still watching for, it's still looking like it wants to go back to that 39-cent level, because that's just a common level. I feel like we're living back in August and September of 2020, where we're talking about 22.5 cents the whole time. I believe we are in something similar to that right now. We'll see what time says, but I'm just constantly drawn to that 39 cents in there. It is a range, it could be 37, 38, 39, so long as XRP is bullish, right? We've talked about this quite a few times. Wyckoff accumulation happening in there. Very common to come back and backtest that sign of strength area back in there. So what I'm hoping for and cheering for is that we can actually just get it over with and do find support on there. I would not want to see us break through that level in there. That would start to get concerning about XRP. But so long as we hold in here, hip, hip, hooray. That's awesome for me because I'm definitely cheering for a bull run for XRP. But like I've mentioned throughout all my videos, if we just go straight up there right now and start heading, it just makes me very nervous that we have to come back again at some point. So getting it over with right now seems probable to me, possible and likely. And it seems like the most bullish thing. It was one thing for me to just want it because it's what I want. But still, the fact that we've just continued in here, it still just screams at me as my best guess that it's probably still coming. I still feel like this is like the 22.5 cent moment we lived through back in September and October and August of 2020. But so long as it holds, man, that's awesome. Rock and roll. But as for the XRP community, this is a big moment that we're going to be having NFTs over here on the XRP ledger. And I posted over here on Twitter, what are the most highly anticipated NFTs coming to XRP on October 31st? And you had a lot of different responses. You had people definitely mentioning the NFTs they're excited to get in there. And then you have a lot of people just being like, I don't care. Rah, rah, rah. I'm grumpy on Twitter, which is to be expected. But I think it's an exciting moment for all of us because a lot of us have been waiting a very long time for this moment to come. And there's been a lot of NFTs that have been preparing themselves for this moment for a long time. They could have absolutely released themselves on Solana, Cardano, HBAR, Ethereum, but still held out and waited to be released on the XRP ledger. Many of them you may have heard of, such as the XRPL Punks or Expector or the Bored Apes XRP Club. But I spent my weekend really kind of hanging out in these communities, talking to them to get an understanding of what their NFTs are all about. So over the course of this week, I'm going to be creating videos discussing some of the most highly anticipated releases coming to XRP over there on October 31st. I will say I'm not affiliated with any of these guys. I'm not compensated by any of them, and I'm not promoting them. I don't know which ones are going to be rug pulls. I don't know which ones are going to be the next magical unicorn, but it's an exciting time for us to reach this milestone for XRP. And what's the point of it even happening if we don't understand the things that are happening on that date? So over the course of the next week, I'll be releasing videos discussing some of the more highly anticipated NFTs that are coming to the XRP ledger on October 31st. And it's been a lot of fun hanging out with these communities and talking with them about what has them excited. I will say this. I went through the list in here. I made a big list of what you guys said. I wrote it all down, made a giant list, and I went through there and I bought one NFT of like the top 10 that you guys mentioned. So there's no point of running here now and trying to, promote whatever NFT you want to promote. I've already gone through the list. There was the chance to do it all weekend, but I want to support what's coming for the XRP ledger. I want to be part of the excitement coming on October 31st. I don't know how it will all go. It's going to be a wild ride, but the date is quickly approaching, and it's time for us to get our heads wrapped around what's going to be happening on that day. So it's the final countdown. We are 1 week away, and that's going to be my main focus going on until we get there and as we go through it. I'm sure there'll be hiccups as we go through it, but we'll go on that journey together. Otherwise, as the 1 week clock ticks down for NFTs on the XRP ledger, we're starting this week off still ranging for the cryptocurrency market, but the Dow Jones and the stock market ended last week strong, and we seem to see a continuation of that, at least starting out Monday morning. We'll check in on it again tomorrow to see how it's going. Otherwise, things are pretty stable so far to start the week out, but the big events come into XRP in the next week. So keep an eye out for more videos from me about XRP and NFTs this week. I'm going to try to put out several of them. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.